Hi guys, how are you? I hope that you have had a good week this week. I hope that you're kind of getting into the swing of this online schooling, hopefully better than me because I'm still struggling. So if you're still struggling, don't feel bad. Um, but I wanted to go ahead and go over a little bit of what's going to be happening um, the next few days. Okay. So we're going to be sending out your lesson plans, okay, of what you're going to be working on for the next week and a half because uh, the week after this was supposed to be when you were starting into your spring break. So you were only going to be in school from Monday to Wednesday because on Thursday we were going to have a teacher only day. And then Friday, of course, is Good Friday. And then the week after that is going to be your spring break. So as of right now, the state still has us on the same schedule as far as keeping our spring break the same. So you still are going to get that. So I know that Miss Rolla and myself are not going to be sending out any work for that week. So we went ahead and gave you the work all the way up through that Wednesday before you were going to go on spring break, which is April 8th. So I'm just going to go day by day real quick and explain to you kind of what you're going to be doing, what you need to turn into us, and then I'm going to actually go ahead and start reading the Odyssey. And what's going to happen is I'm going to read all of part one, and then Miss Sorolla is going to read all of part two. And so you'll get to hear and see both of us in doing this. And it'll just be a nice way for you to have somebody reading it to you and with you. And hopefully that'll help as far as your understanding of what's going on in the Odyssey goes. But before I get to that, I'm going to go ahead and just go through what we're doing for the week. And so I'm just going to be looking back and forth from my screen here over to my computer screen. So if you see my eyes dart back and forth, that's kind of what's going on. And I'm sorry that I keep saying so much. I'm trying to think. It is late at night for me right now while I'm trying to put this video together, but I did want to make sure that I had it done and ready for you guys for this next week. So on Monday, okay, March 30th, you're going to be doing an Odyssey web quest. Okay, so you're going to be doing a web quest based on this epic poem that we're going to be reading called the Odyssey, which we'll get more into here in just a second. That's going to be sent to you on a document. You can type onto it. You can write it by hand if you prefer, and then send a PDF of those answers. That's fine. But that web quest is going to be sent to you along with all of this. And then on Tuesday, you're going to be doing part one of the Odyssey. Now, part one runs from pages 371 to 398. So it's not too long. I mean, it's not long in comparison to like Romeo and Juliet or anything. But we're going to be reading that. And what happens with the Odyssey is it's split into books. So basically, since it is an epic poem, it's almost like it has chapters to it, but instead they're called books. And so it's like different pieces that the main character is doing. And what they did for our textbook is that the Odyssey is long. Okay, it's called an epic for a reason. It's very long. What they did for our textbook is that they kind of pulled out some of the pieces of it and just made more of a condensed version of it. So not every single book that's in the Odyssey is going to be a part of what we're studying. So part one actually just goes from book one up to sorry, I want to make sure I give you the correct information. Up to book 12, and it doesn't have all of the books in between there. Okay, so it's going to be split into a couple of different pieces, but basically book 1 is going to be the start, book 12 is going to be the end of part 1, and then part 2 that Miss Sorolla is going to be reading is actually going to be book 17, and then it is going to end with book 23. And again, it's not all of the ones in between there either. So it kind of does go back and forth it goes in the right order, but it does skip over some of the books. So I just want to make sure that you get that. But we do have you reading part 1 of the Odyssey, so you can either listen to it on here if you prefer to read it on your own. That's totally fine. We've also included some places to look for a more modernized version of that, so that you can maybe get a better understanding of what's happening in that part of the Odyssey. I've also attached a link to the plans that are being sent out for the mini series that they did on PBS of the Odyssey, which is actually pretty good, and it's all available on YouTube, so you don't have to pay for it, which is great. Okay, so with the part 1, you are going to read all through that, and then on page 399, which is at the end of part 1, you're going to do questions 1 through 7. All right. On Thursday, all right, that's going to be April 2nd, you are going to start reading part 2. And then it's shorter, all right? But then by Friday on the 3rd, you should be answering questions 1 through 7 on page 418. All right, and again, all of that is in the information that we're sending out to you. Now, that little partial week there that comes right after that, the Monday through Wednesday, what you guys are going to do is you're going to complete, there's a positive and negative worksheet for the hero that you're going to have, and then you're also going to be working on page 418, all right, the same one you did the questions on. You're going to do the performance task from that, and so that's either going to be 1 page typed, or it's going to be 2 pages if it's handwritten, because when you write, it's usually pretty big, okay? So you're going to do 1 page type, or you're going to do 2 pages handwritten for that. And that's what you're going to complete for Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Okay, so you have 3 days worth of time to do 1 page of writing, okay, or 2 pages of handwriting if you prefer. And then you're going to get that all to us before you go on spring break, preferably. All right, if it takes a couple of days to get it, that's fine, but best not to wait until the end of spring break and try and send it all in, because it'll be hard for us to get it graded in a timely manner, okay? So that's the plan. If you have questions on that, please make sure that you reach out to Miss Rolla or myself, and we will absolutely help you in whatever way we possibly can, okay? So what we're going to do is we are going to start reading the Odyssey, and this is going to be our kind of kickoff to our mythology unit. All right, so you just finished doing your Latin and Greek, all right, which of course we know the Latin is what the Romans used, all right, and then Greek of course is what the Greeks used, and a lot of that is you're gonna see some of those roots and affixes pop up in some of the wording in here. And just because it is such common terminology throughout there. And basically kind of what your book does. Now, I should start off by saying that Homer lived a very long time ago. You're going to find out a little bit more about him when you do the web quest. But he lived a very long time ago. This epic was before we had written materials. So basically, this was a story that was told, okay? Think folklore type thing. So it was a story that was told and it was passed down, and it didn't end up getting written until much later. So Homer himself did not actually pen this. So he didn't actually handwrite this. So it's kind of, of course, it's been translated from Greek. It is very old. It's been told and told and told again. So there may be some discrepancies in it. And what they've done here is they've, given you this specific translation, and then they give a little bit of explanation in some of the italicized writing that's in it. So if you look and you just open up your books to page 371 right now, I'm going to read book 1, and if you see, it's only 1 page long. So it's just the real choppy, short introduction to the Odyssey, okay? And the Odyssey, of course, is called this because it's a journey. Odyssey means journey. And so this is his journey, and the main character's name is Odysseus. Sometimes you'll have it heard as Ulysses. Ulysses is a different language version of Odysseus. So when you think of like Ulysses S. Grant, he was kind of named for this character here, Odysseus, right? So if you take a look at book 1 on page 371, I'm just going to read that through with you, and then I'm going to be making separate videos for each of the different books so that they're just a little bit easier for you to find on this YouTube page, okay? All right, so I've got my crown on to make this very much authentic for you because, you know, I want to make sure that you really feel like you're in ancient Greece at the moment with my earbuds and talking into my iPhone, but we'll do the best that we can. All right, so book 1, A Goddess Intervenes. Sing in me, muse, and though through me tell the story of that man skilled in all ways of contending, the wanderer, harried for years on end after he plundered the stronghold of that proud height of Troy. He saw the townlands and learned the minds of many distant men, and weathered many bitter nights and days in his deep heart at sea, while he fought only to save his life, to bring his shipmates home. But not by will nor valor could he save them, for their own recklessness destroyed them all, children and fools. They killed and feasted on the cattle of Lord Helios, the sun, and he who moves all day through heaven took from their eyes in dawn of their return. Of these adventurers, Muse, daughter of Zeus, tell us in our time, lift the great song again. Okay, and so this is Homer's introduction to the Odyssey, all right? And so then at the bottom here, it gives that kind of overview of what's going to happen. So it says, the story of Odysseus begins with the goddess Athena's appealing to Zeus to help Odysseus. So this has a lot of god and goddess intervention. So they're playing with human emotions, they're playing with the human strife, the human plight, and a lot of it is a game to them. Okay, a lot of it is they mess with humans for fun. But Athena really takes a liking and compassion to Odysseus because of his warrior status, all right, in, you know, the Battle of Troy, okay, and fighting against the Trojans. And so she takes, you know, this look at him, and she really wants to help him in his journey. And so she appeals to Zeus, who we know is like the main god, right? And so she appeals to him to try to help, right? So she appeals to Zeus to help Odysseus, who's been wandering for 10 years on the seas. 10 years. Can you imagine? To find his way home to his family in Ithaca. While Odysseus has been gone, his son, Telemachus, has grown to manhood, and his wife, Penelope, has been besieged by suitors wishing to marry her and gain Odysseus' wealth. So her house has been taken over by all of these men who have decided, Odysseus must be dead. Time to get that wife for myself, and with that, get all of Odysseus' wealth. All right, so she has all these strange men now living in her house, wanting to marry her, and she's holding out hope that Odysseus is still alive even after he's been gone to war for 10 years. And you have to imagine, there's no Pony Express here, okay? There's no way for him to get letters home and say, things are going well, can't wait to see you. No, you go off to war, and your family is left at home saying, is he alive? Is he not? I don't know. Okay, so she's got all these guys in her house trying to get with her. Blech. So the suitors have taken up residence in her home and are constantly feasting on the family's cattle, sheep, and goats. They dishonor Odysseus and his family. Taking Athena's advice, Telemachus, which is Odysseus' son, travels to Pylos for word from his father. Meanwhile, on Ithaca, the evil suitors plot to kill Telemachus when he returns. So right now, the suitors, the guys that are trying to be with his mom, are now planning to kill Telemachus, Odysseus' son, when he comes back from trying to get word from his father. So that's where book 1 ends. And then we are going to pick up on book 9 in the next video. So I'll see you over there.